Hi, and welcome to The Leader's Edge. This week it's Georgia and myself
Mhm.
alone. We are here and we're going to be talking about burnout specifically. And before we jump into the topic, I just want to introduce ourselves or reintroduce ourselves. So, Georgia and I, we are leadership coaches. Um, I do executive coaching as well, and I think Georgia does as well. So,
Mhm.
we are in that space that we speak to leaders all the time in terms of not just workshops and facilitating, but actually doing the one on one work.
Mhm.
And that is a lot where you find so much gold. I think people don't recognize the value of coaching, and you only tend to recognize it when you do it. And I was one of those people, to be fair and
Yes.
honest. I never recognized it until actually I started training as a coach because I enjoyed the concept, and then I realized how much we can get out of this.
Mhm.
So Georgia and I today, on the Leader's Edge, we are talking about burnout and why do successful leaders burn out.
Mhm.
So, according to the Medical Health America, burnout is a state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged stress. Key warning signs include persistent fatigue, increased irritability, cynicism, a lack of motivation, reduced performance, and physical symptoms like headaches or sleep
Mhm.
disruptions. And if you are experiencing any of those, I encourage you to listen on in case burnout is setting in for you. So, we've been taught that burnout happens to people who can't handle the pressure. But what if the exact opposite is true? What if your greatest strengths, your resilience, your empathy, and your track record of delivering results are the very things driving you to the edge of exhaustion? What we are breaking down today is why most capable leaders are often the most vulnerable to burning out, and it's not always for the reasons you think. So, Georgia, let's start with
Mhm.
breaking it down, and I want you guys to see if you identify with any of these as we talk them through.
Yes, thank you so much, Emily. I'm happy that we're talking about this topic today because leaders sometimes feel that they're a failure. And we want to tell you you're not a failure. Sometimes it's just a system that was set or not set. So let's talk about one of the key things why you will feel burnout. It's hyper performance identity. You remember us talking once about this hero syndrome? I remember some other time Emily and I spoke about it. You know, when we feel that we have to save the day, this hero
Mhm.
complex,
Yes.
and especially women, we feel we must wear that cape where we have to solve everything. And even when the problem is not ours to solve, we want to jump in to solve that. And guess what that's creating now? It's creating an over reliance now on you. Everything has to revolve around you. And then what happens? It causes that overwhelm.
Yes,
You seen
Georgia.
that, Em?
It is so common. It is so common. Especially as you say about people who identify with high performance.
Mm-hmm.
It is so common because we want to succeed.
Yes.
We want to always succeed. Huh? Not just, I mean, whether it's impossible or not, that is not necessarily important. It's
Mm-hmm.
about getting the results that we put ourselves or we said we will do. And
Yes.
so I see it actually probably am guilty a bit when I was back in my old roles, feeling like
Mm-hmm.
I needed to know the answer, do everything, be the
Yes.
one. Um, and I think I see it a lot in our leaders today in terms
Mm-hmm.
of those who you know, as I said, we just want to perform, and so it's
Mm-hmm.
difficult for us to not to step back and allow
Right.
our teams to take the ownership of the things that they need to
Right.
take ownership of because we are so worried that they would not do it right. Yeah,
Or
and that leads
way.
yeah, and that leads to the other part of the high performing identity, which can be referred to as the competence curse. How many
Oh
of you
my
think you have
goodness.
this competence curse? You know,
Oh,
we are capable, of course, we are excellent problem solvers. So because of this, we are the ones that are consistently looked at for
Mm-hmm.
hardest projects. So we get to put on all sorts of teams. We get to be in the high stakes situations, and this is great. This is
Mm-hmm.
great because we get experience, we get exposure, we get so many things from this. However, we have to be careful that we don't become
Yes.
victims of our own
That.
efficiency, right? We don't want to carry unsustainable volume because everyone thinks we can do it and we can
Mm-hmm.
handle it. And you know what happens? Suddenly, one day we realize, we can't, and we can't even face that fact. So we're not saying, of course, don't be excellent, right? We want to be
Mm-hmm.
excellent at our jobs. What we are saying here is that it is important to have some boundaries and always know that you can say no.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Emily. And I have seen it from two sides, from both sides,
Mm,
where me being the person who, because I did something well, I got more and more and more. And I've
mhm.
also seen it, unfortunately, when I became an executive and I had a team member who was so good at what she did and others weren't as good. I kept giving her more and more and
Yeah,
more
we do it.
until she had to call me and say, "You see what's happening here? I'm not holding the others accountable, and she's getting all the work."
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she called you out, which
She
is good.
called me out. She
Which
called
is
me out.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And I was so happy that she made sure that she held me accountable. And
yeah,
because of that, yeah, I recognize, wow, can you imagine I was doing that to her and not realizing what I was doing?
yeah.
So
Was
you
also
can experience it from two ways.
you
Yourself,
can.
yeah, and then also you may now be doing it to somebody else.
Yeah, and what's
Yeah.
awesome about that story is that you listened, because I
Ah,
think some of us,
yes.
we might hear someone saying things to us, and we
Mm-hmm.
might brush it off or
Mm-hmm.
not really take it in,
Yeah.
probably because it's easier to just do what we've always been doing, or we just don't actually think it's a problem.
That's that's so true. That's so true. And some of you are watching. You may say failure is not an option for you. You identify so strongly now with high performance that you go to extraordinary length to ensure things are
Yes,
flawless. It has to be perfect. Not
yes,
one strand of hair is out of place. And you know what happens? This can now result in you becoming over controlling
hmm,
without you meaning to be over controlling because you
that's
want everything to be in the right spot at the right time. And sometimes you don't have the right resources, but you're going all out. And then now you're not reliant sufficiently on the team members to help you to get these things done. And what happens? You become overwhelmed. End up now feeling like you have to do everything all by yourself. That's where burnout comes again, Emily.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's where one of the places where we say it becomes lonely at the top.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be lonely at the top. The
Yeah.
thing is, we're not asking for help. We are assuming that we have to do it all.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that need for perfectionism can result in us not trusting
Mm-hmm.
our team to support us, and not also in a sense not training our team to support us,
Mm-hmm.
because we actually train them to do the opposite, like over rely on us, and
Yes.
we're going to do it anyway, they're probably going to do it over, so they don't always give you their best. So it's a double-edged sword that we
Mm-hmm.
have to really look out for, and
Yeah.
it's quietly burning us out. And that's what's really, really important. So, what
Mm-hmm.
about if we switch to the culture now?
Huh?
Your
You,
expectations.
you think we have time?
Yes, we do. We do. We have some time. So, well, maybe not, but we have enough time to just touch on it. So, we all operate in a very high pressure, time
Mm-hmm.
sensitive environment. I don't think in any organization we are feeling like it's easy breezy, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so much change. The expectation of our stakeholders, all of our stakeholders, the customers, the industry, everything is changing, everything is growing, everything is moving, and
Mm-hmm.
I think what's resulting is that we are always on, because
Yeah.
we're also in this digital time where we are literally always on. We have our devices in our hand,
Mm-hmm.
and that means that when we get a message, when things are happening, we are expected to respond
Mm-hmm.
immediately and not just respond just like that, have a brilliant solution right
Mm-hmm.
now. And you know what is the brilliance that makes the difference in terms of the
Mm-hmm.
pressure that we are feeling, right?
Yeah.
So it can also feel like outing fires all the time. And what is really happening is that you are feeling like you don't have enough time. You just don't have
Mm-hmm.
enough time to think and thoughtfully evaluate data and facts and what's going on before you can respond with your recommendations. And that
Mm-hmm.
is also potentially leading you to feel frazzled, to
Yes.
feel stretched, to feel pulled in too many directions, and also a little bit out of your depth,
Yes.
discomfort, actual discomfort, because you are there having to be brilliant and you're not feeling ready to do it, you
That's
know?
it. That's it. That's it. And we're not saying that you're not going to come up with brilliant ideas. Of course, you're going to come up with brilliant ideas, but it's
Yeah.
the time frame in which you need to come up with those brilliant ideas that causes that anxiety
Yeah.
and then now brings on that frustration and the overwhelm,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
leads to burnout. Yes.
Yeah.
Another one, Emily, this one really hits home for me,
Mhm.
particularly came up during COVID, is the emotional exhaustion or that emotional weight.
Mhm.
And for those of you who are watching this program, you're capable and you're a capable leader. And we know that you care deeply about your teams, you care deeply about your culture, and you care deeply about your clients. Here's where the issue is. Because you care so much, you continue to absorb all of that collective stress, and you
Mhm.
carry all that worry and that frustration, and you have no avenue to let that loose. You have no avenue for release,
Mhm.
no mechanism now to discharge that stress. Guess
Mhm.
what happens there? That leads to emotional exhaustion.
Yeah.
So you spend all of your emotional currency now keeping others afloat. And what about you? You're sinking, you're drowning, you're leaving your own tank empty. How
Yeah.
do you fill your tank when you're carrying everybody else? So we've been talking about those things, Emily. We gave a few of those instances where we
Mhm.
become tired and exhausted. How do
Yeah.
we recover without leaving that job?
I know, right? And oftentimes leaving the job does not actually help us recover. Like,
That might bring
because,
additional stress.
well, it does provide additional stress, but like I would have recognized when I first left my job, thinking that it was my job, it was my job, it was my job.
Yeah.
It was so much at the time, and it was. And I was feeling like I needed a break because I mean, maybe I was getting close to burnout, who knows? But
Mm-hmm.
for me, when I left the job, I realized it was not the job, it was
Mm-hmm.
me. It
Ah,
was how I was processing information. I was
yes.
more stressed out and more 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 emotionally drained when
Mm-hmm.
I actually first left um,
Right.
the role in terms of before I figured out what was happening with me.
Mm-hmm.
I did
Mm-hmm.
not know how to regulate myself as well
Yes.
as I do now because
Mm-hmm.
of all the training and all the
The
work that I've
training,
been doing ever
right.
since. Yes. Yeah. So I think the first thing is really check in with yourself. And I don't just
Preach
mean,
it. Can you say that again?
yes, really check in with yourself, not
Mm-hmm.
just like, how am I doing? Fine. We're all doing fine. Everything is fine, but we are not fine and we do not ever admit it. I think some of us are afraid to
Mm-hmm.
notice, you know what, I'm not fine. Because you know what, if you say that, you don't know what to do with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think the safest thing to know is that you will be actually fine
Mm-hmm.
when we are honest and recognize what is happening within us, because that is our body telling us that,
Mm-hmm.
hey, something is up. Like as we said earlier, you're probably not sleeping as well. I used to be dreaming work and thing. I think a lot of people do that. Dreaming what you're going to be doing tomorrow.
Yes.
And that's, I mean, that's fine in a sense, but not knowing how to switch off is not
Mm-hmm.
healthy.
It's
And
not
it's just,
sustainable.
it's not sustainable, it's not
Mm-hmm.
healthy. And it does impact your performance because you are
Yeah.
tired. You are
Yes.
literally tired. You're running on fumes.
Yeah.
So use the prompts we just mentioned to
Mm-hmm.
maybe as a way to check in and just actually just notice, how am I feeling in this moment, in this
Mm-hmm.
moment, and in any given moment. Look at your emotional state. Are you often in that overwhelmed, frustrated,
Mm-hmm.
reactive state? Because if you are actually very reactive, it shows that your nerves, your
Mm-hmm.
nervous system is being tested,
Yes.
and that is what needs to be reset, so that you can be your calm, focused self, able to think, even if under pressure, a
Yeah.
lot under pressure, but able to
Mm-hmm.
think, because you have the capacity, the nervous energy, the nervous system
Yes.
energy to do it. So
Yes.
think about what I just said and really check in. I think that's the big
Mm-hmm.
step, Georgia.
Mm-hmm. Listen, this other one, I don't know why this topic just hitting home for me today. The other one I thought of was setting boundaries.
Yes.
And that's not something that traditionally I was able to do well. I'm learning and I'm getting better at it, but
Yeah.
setting those boundaries, set times for when you're on and times for when you're off. Can't
Mhm.
be on all the time. Are you always taking home work? Of course, there are going to be times when you need to take home some work. But
Mhm.
has that become such a feature that everybody knows that when they see you leaving, you're going home for another 8 hours of work? So, how are you setting that time, for yourself and making sure that there are boundaries to refresh your body and refresh your mind? Because if you're
Mhm.
not refreshing your body and your mind when you go back to work the next day, the overwhelm starts all over again.
Mhm.
So, what do you thought about that one?
No, absolutely, absolutely. And what about protecting your time and focus at the office?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was guilty of this. When many of us
Yes.
are guilty of this, we have the open door and we want to be available for people. But guess what? We are not. We end up not blocking off enough time for ourselves. So you are the
Yes.
one that ends up staying back when everybody else left to
Yes.
finish up what you were supposed to be doing all day because you were talking.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a need to balance that time
Mm-hmm.
to be available to support your team and to support the activities that you're doing, but knowing, when that you need to, and letting people know that you also
Yes.
need time to
Mm-hmm.
do focus on the things that you have to deliver as well.
Yes. But that one, Emily, it used to be a song. Georgia, I have 5 minutes. So somebody will come to my office door. Georgia, I have 5 minutes. Yes, come right in. And that turns into 15 minutes. And
Yeah,
another 15 minutes, somebody else comes. Georgia, I have 5 minutes. Yes, come right in.
yeah,
I
yeah,
had to learn. Can you
correct.
check me back in 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Know how to set those boundaries.
Yeah, Georgia. And there's a switching cost. So every
Mm-hmm.
time we switch from one thing to the next,
Yes.
when we get back in, it's not
Yes.
going to be the same.
No,
You're not going to
no,
be back at the same place you
no,
were.
no, no. You
Take
have to
you a few
re-engage your
minutes.
brain again.
Yeah, it could take you a few minutes, even up to 10 minutes to sort of get back to where you
Yeah.
were in thinking time. So that
Hmm.
that cost even adds up. It
That's
it,
true.
it becomes more,
That's
yeah,
true.
over
That's
time.
true. Yeah.
Mhm.
Good. So, what else you're thinking that we can tell people? Hmm.
Well, in the space of boundaries, we had this idea. Well, you mentioned it. We don't
Uh-huh.
know how to say no, or we
That
always
little
feel like we
word.
have to say yes, right? And
That
that
little word. Hmm. It
nobody
pulls a
likes
big
to hear.
punch.
Yeah, nobody likes to hear no. Nobody likes to say
Hmm.
no. We feel like if we say no, it's negative.
Hmm.
It's not cooperating. It's not showing
Yeah.
team spirit and whatever. But how about if you review your responsibilities and identify
Yeah.
those things that you actually need to keep, and
Hmm.
those things that you can delegate, that you can have others do for you instead, or do
Hmm.
for your team. So the idea is we have people working with us, supporting us, and are we making sure that they are learning and growing and
Hmm.
developing, also getting opportunities to do things that stretch them so that they become
Right.
more reliable and they also feel more engaged with their work. Because
Hmm.
again, if we are taking on too much by not saying no, or feeling like we are the ones that have to do it,
Yes.
and we are not actually doing a big part of our work as leaders, which
As
is
lead.
developing
Yes.
level.
That is so true. That is so true. Another one that has worked for me, Emily, is setting structure.
Hmm.
I found that when I lacked structure, those are the times where I felt more frazzled. So
Hmm.
setting that structure now, once you have a plan, you're not feeling like you're outing fires all the time.
Hmm.
So, for example, you have your weekly team meeting. You know what's on your agenda for that week. Or you create a dashboard so you are able to see what the metrics are, what you need to be on top of. So you can look at trends. You deal with situations before they come up, because
Yes.
it's when you're reactive, that's when you feel more frazzled.
Absolutely. So
Hmm.
structure. Some of us struggle with that. So being
Yeah.
more organized and ensuring that you set the tone for the organization in your team
Yes.
or in your department.
Hmm.
So important.
Hmm.
Planning. Oh my gosh. Some of us love that word, some of us not so much. So know yourself,
Yeah.
know which ways, what is your strength and what is your weakness,
Hmm.
where you lie on that, and notice if you find yourself always feeling like you're fighting fires, like
Yeah.
never doing what you're supposed to be doing, then maybe there's a need to step back and
Yes.
evaluate what's happening.
Yeah. Good.
So
I think
Georgia,
that's a nice bunch of tips that we gave.
yes, yes,
Hmm.
I think so, and all very useful, all very useful, and I would say fairly easy to
Hmm.
put into practice if you
Hmm.
decide to do that. And I feel like also, if you feel like you are in fact struggling a bit with this idea, this concept, so even the tips that we are saying,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel reachable or doable for you.
Hmm.
This might be a good time for you to actually consider coaching,
Hmm.
leadership coaching, like what George and I do. And the reason for that is sometimes we're so in situations, it's difficult for us to gain perspective and to gain
Hmm.
insight and awareness. Or we may be aware, but not able to figure out how to change that
Yeah.
awareness into something we can actually do.
Hmm.
So, being able to take these steps, being able to have that accountability built in with
Yeah.
someone who can help you do that, I think that is so important. So if you are feeling like you need that support,
Hmm.
don't take it lightly,
Right.
because it is for your benefit. It is going to save you energy. It's probably going to
Oh,
give you some balance back in your life.
for
It's
sure.
probably going to, give you that peace, that peace of mind.
That is so true.
Because at the end of the day, we are talking to you, capable leaders. So you know what to do. It's just that
Hmm.
some of the ways that you have been doing what you've been good at is not
Hmm.
supporting the person that you're fully capable of being.
That's it. That's it. And in addition to talking to coaches like us, a simple recommendation, a cup of chamomile tea, like what I'm having, do that in addition to coaching. It worked wonders.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So, guys, I feel like your gift this week is for you to look. Our gift to you, is to look at these suggestions, and to pick one thing from this
Mhm.
action, from this
Yes.
list to action for yourself. Um, do not become a victim of burnout. It is so
Mhm.
easy to do that.
Mhm.
And take some time and create a new contract for yourself.
Yes.
You are worth it.
Yes. Wonderful. This is such good food for thought for this week.
Yes. So everyone have a great, great week, and take on this challenge that we
Yeah.
put out for you, and we shall see you in the next week.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Have a cup of tea and chill.
Yes.